Hey guys, and welcome to PJ's Coin Capers. So it's been a bit over a week or so, probably maybe a bit longer, but this is Look What I Found episode 34, and fairly good week. I actually went through probably more coins than what I normally would, and so this is probably maybe around $1,800 worth of coins that have gone through to find this lot, and the first 1,000 is probably where most of these coins came from. The second lot of coins that I went through were really poor. I think I found all the dollar coins that we're seeing in front of us in the first lot. And I think most of these 10-cent pieces actually come out of the second lot. So my second lot was a very boring hunt, to be honest. But I did find one coin I've never found before. So keep watching, and I'll get to that one in a moment. Look, some of the usual suspects have turned up, and it's always good to find a Marbo, which is one we've looked at many times on the channel, but it's a low mintage coin if you're not familiar with this guy. So 1.4 million of these, and that's a 2017 50-cent coin, so keep an eye out for those. They will certainly be worth more than face value as time goes by. Always happy to find a 1985 mintage of just 1 million. So 1985 50-cent coin. That's a nice one. Just a couple of Federation coins this week, but very happy with the two that I did find. This is the Northern Territory from 2001. So Centenary of Federation coin. There we have it. And the other keeper for the week is the WA, so the Western Australian 50-cent Federation coin, and that's also in good nick as well, so I was quite happy with those two. Some of these coins that you do find from time to time are starting to have a bit more wear on them, but those two are definitely going to be keepers, and great to make sets out of those. These coins haven't been coming across my path very often anymore. I used to find them all the time. Not particularly low mintage or anything, but just a nice 1988 bicentenary coin. So I kept that one just because I haven't seen them for a while. Now I did find a 1994 wide date, so I did also keep aside a narrow date just so that we can have a look at both those in the same shot. And if you look, certainly the distance between the 9s and the 4 are the two sort of obvious distances. You can see that there, the distance between them. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit further, and hopefully you can see there the difference in the wide date and the narrow date. So the wide date is the one that is more scarce, and I haven't had a look to see how those guys are selling, or even if they are selling, but it's just something that you want to try and collect. It's not necessarily always about value. It's about finding and having some other coins in your collection, along with this guy here. So we've got the 2004 big head versus the small head. The big head is the one that is far more scarce than the small head. Plenty of the small heads around, but the big head is the one you want to try and find as well. So the big head is certainly worth more than 20 cents. So you might get a couple of bucks for those because they are more scarce. I was told a figure, and I don't know where it came from, on the big heads, possibly around 400,000 of them. So yeah, I'd love to be able to confirm that in some ways. Just a nice changeover, 20 cent. You don't come across these in good nick very often, let alone really coming across them. So I kept that one aside this week. Just the one state coin, and that one there is the Victorian state coin, the Centenary Federation, and this is in nice condition as well, so I kept that one as well. Now the 20-cent coin I have here is the 1986, and I was very happy to find this one in circulation this week because it is not meant to be there. This is purely made for mint sets only, so no 1986 or 87 were produced for circulation, and this one has come from a mint set at some stage. It's still showing plenty of shine on it, but there is starting to have a few scratches, as you can see, and a few little dings. So it's certainly possibly come from a mint set in the past year or two. So at some stage someone has broken a mint set up, and either it's come from a stolen collection and the thief has broken up the sets and spent them, or the collector has fallen on hard times and has spent it. So yeah, I don't know how many of these would have been made, but being in a mint set, it would be possibly less than 100,000 of them, would be my guess. I could certainly look up the figure, but it won't be on the actual mint site, so you do have to look at the annual reports usually to try and find out, but I'm not sure that the annual reports are readily available for dates prior to year 2000, so I will have to try and find that one out. I'm interested myself to know what the actual mintage on that coin would be. So just only found a couple of these, which is the new effigy $1 from 2019. So I'm keeping all of those at this time. And just as a comparison, I found 3 of the IRBs. Okay, so this is just the standard circulating $1 without the AU and the S on it. So I'm also keeping those at this time as well. And these guys here, so this is, I found a couple of U's this week, so the 35th anniversary of the $1 coin, and it's a 2019 with the IRB effigy. So I've kept 2 of those this week as well. Another couple of double ups for the week is a 2014 Mob of Ruse. So that's a low mintage coin. This one was in fairly good condition as well, so it's always going to be a keeper with only 1 million of these available. So another low mintage coin, and something that will be sought after more and more as time goes by. Both of them were in fairly good condition. These things do tend to wear fairly quickly because the dollar is a very highly used coin. I just chucked a couple of $2 coins up here just purely because I didn't have room on the screen elsewhere. Fairly nice high grade changeover $2 coin. I don't keep too many of these, but I reckon they're going to be more sought after in the future. So I'm just keeping a few more than what I usually would. Along with the gold poppy. If you find a good high grade sort of gold poppy that looks a bit better than other ones, well then grab that one aside as well, if you can afford to keep those guys. I just pulled this one out as well because it was in a fairly high grade without too many nicks and scratches, and because I do like to make sets of dollar coins, circulated dollar coins, I kept that one aside for that reason. But you usually don't find them looking anywhere near the grade of this one, so I've kept that one aside. A low mintage 100 Years of Anzac. The lowest one is a 2015, so I generally keep those. I think a mintage of, around 1.5, somewhere in that. I can't remember exactly. Still a few of the Great Australian Coin Hunt. So I've got a fair few letters there. I think we've got 5 different ones this week. And I'm going to keep these. I'm going to make a circulated set. Eventually I'll drag it out and see how many I've got. But what'll be interesting about these coins is that when the mintage does come out, it'll be interesting to see if any of them are a lower mintage than the other. And if that is the case, and depending on how much that is the case, that particular coin will be more valuable than the other 25. So it will be interesting to see if they made the exact same number of each of these. And to be honest, I have no clue how many of these they would have made. So looking forward to finding out those numbers. Who knows, it could be 1 million each, it could be 500,000 each, we just don't know. So it will be interesting to see what happens there over time. Just a few coloured coins, pretty much the regular ones. Coloured $2 coins I'm really struggling to find. I'm probably going through so if I did $2,000 worth, I'd probably go through $8,000 to $1,000 worth of $2 coins, and that's all I came out of that lot. And only one 2019 IRB, so that's another keeper at the moment as well. Potentially low mintage, so that was a keeper. This one here, this was just a 2015 missing SD. So at the bottom of the 5, so at the top of my screen right now, let's zoom in there, and if I move around the light, you can see there that there is no initials for Stuart Devlin, so SD is missing. And you'll also notice, certainly more so on the left-hand side, there are some cuds between the claws, and that's fairly common with the missing SD to find those cuds on the same coin. So there's multiple errors going on there, and it's certainly a collectible coin or error coin. So yeah, I'm just looking. No, it looks fairly normal. I thought there was a little bit of a doubling going on the side of the 5 there, but yeah, always worth checking your 2015s. Probably a bit more common than what was initially thought. I certainly find a fair few of those as I noodle, but I always check my 2015 5-cent coins. Just a comparison here. So this is the 2019 IRB 10-cent coin, and you can see how many of these I found in comparison to the JC. So I don't know, maybe 10 or so compared to the one JC 10-cent coin. So based on what we know so far, if the mintage stays as it is on the IRB, this will be the third lowest 10-cent coin produced. I'm finding a fair few of them, which makes me think that that's not going to be the case, and I've got a feeling it'll probably blow out. But for the time being, I'm going to keep as many of these as possible, and I'm certainly keeping all of the IRBs that I come across, because all the interim figures on these are all low. So hang on to them all for now, and in a year's time or less now, we will know whether or not to hold on to them or to send them back into circulation. Other 10 cents, I've found two 1985 10-cent coins, mintage of 2 million, so certainly a low mintage coin, and quite difficult to find. They all sort of look like this. They're all not very shiny. They all sort of look like this, so I don't find them in very shiny condition. 2011, I haven't had much success finding 2011s recently. Lowest mintage of the 10-cent coin at 1.7, 1.8, somewhere in that million. So it's always a favourite of mine to find the 2011s. So, and I've got a feeling that when 2011s were put into circulation, they were put into my area. I really feel that in some ways, because I know a lot of you will struggle to find those guys, as I struggle to find some of the coins that you find around your neck of the woods, because those coins were possibly put into circulation in your area. They are plentiful, yet in other areas of the country we don't find, and we struggle to find. And that's certainly been the case, say in WA with the Marbo. I think a lot of these went to Tassie. A lot of the guys who noodle in Tassie will find truckloads of these and would almost think they're not special. But we know the mintage of 1.4, so we know it's special. But you know, it's not as special to those guys because they just find plenty of them, and I've certainly found plenty of them. So maybe a lot of them were dumped in Melbourne as well. This is probably the only real error coin that I come across this week, and it's only slight, and it's only a little bit of a lamination error going on to the back of the neck there. So going through the L of Elizabeth, and that's a 1969 10-cent coin. I can probably zoom in. It's not even that major really, but it was my only sort of error coin for the week. So yeah, really not worth much more than face value, but just something else that people do collect. So I've kept that one aside. Let's just zoom back out again. So I found 3 or 4 of the lowest minted 5-cent coin, which is the changeover coin from 2016, and these guys are slowly climbing in value. But there's plenty of uncirculated versions around, so it's always going to be a tough sell on those circulated ones. But in some ways, the 1972, you know, it might be 20 years before those things start to be have any real value, and probably by then there won't be any 5 and 10-cent coins in circulation. So. But anyway, to finish off this week, I found one 1972, which is also a very difficult coin to find, and most of them, certainly from a collector's point of view, would have been pulled out of circulation. Alright guys, that is it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this look at what I found, episode 34, and please give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and we'll be back with another video soon.